You could just call me Tony, it's all right. I had Nancy laid out some rules. She's kind of paranoid. I don't know if you've all picked up on that. She's nervous about a lot of things about her job. I have to be nice to Eric. I have to be especially nice to Paul, because he's the guy. Rick's okay, but he's out of the picture now. And I've assured Eric I'd work him into this, because it kind of plays to his ego without, without being mean. So Eric, I'll just fit you in here and there. The reason we're here at all is because there's something about the human condition that respects longevity and sameness. So if you go to the bank or the credit union and you see that same person all the time, it kind of makes you want to go to them all the time. I'll just run into the credit union, I'll run into the bank, I'll see so-and-so, I'll cash my check. And suddenly they're gone. And they're gone the next time, and you think, I could change banks now. That affiliation is just sort of gone. And we're the same with waitresses. At some point, Eric goes to New York every 15 minutes, and he likes to see that same person who knows how he likes his sushi or whatever. So he goes back. They're not there yet. I'll try a new place. So that's why we're here. Nancy's been in the same damn place for so long. But that's what makes this place comfortable. Unconsciously, you walk around and see people you know and you don't even think about it. But you like it. It's just familiar. So we celebrate these things. So for all the people who didn't get their 35th or their 30th for whatever reasons, don't feel bad. It's just your boss got busy and forgot all about it. Doesn't mean we don't love you. It happens. Get over it. It's tragic, and Nancy won. So yeah, Nancy Plytas, formerly Pizarro, for you that are that old, Fred, and remember, November of '76. We met the first day she was here. She thought I was funny, which is good for her. She picked up on that. And I'd already been here 5 years at the time. So 10 years ago, who's been here 10 or less? Okay. Nancy already had her 25th anniversary before you guys showed up. Now, happenstance. This is how life works out to our benefit, Fireman's Fund's benefit. Nancy got a job because her dad was a fireman, her mom was a nurse, so she thought, well, I should work in a doctor's office, kind of go down that path, because she was all about medicine and helping people. Well, claims, file clerk blunder. What happens if you open that first shelf and it's full and the rest of it isn't full? You fall backwards and it crashes on you. That's what happened to her. Lucky for us, because she had to leave that job. And think about this. That was her first claim experience. Better than that, the claim was with Fireman's Fund Workman's Comp. So see, she had an in. The writing was done. It was going to happen. Now, Eric had nothing to do with it. We're just fitting you in, but in a nice way. She applied and was hired, as everybody's told you, at Lucas Green. And back then there was a company cat. There was a company nurse. If you had cramps, you could go lay down. I never took advantage of that, but I hear that that's what happened. If you had a headache, they would dispense things. And there was a company doctor. If you were hired as a manager, you had to go see the company doctor to get a physical. That's how old she is. So she worked in the computer room. They said something about upper and lower rotation, this and that, which just meant you either were working in print, and then you'd go upstairs and work in the tape vault. And you had big round tapes like you see on the old FBI movies and stuff. And there's more data capacity on the phone that Fred's holding than on 10 of those tapes. Nancy and I worked in the home office together, filing and doing an audit of the tape library on California Street in the city. I mean, that's a long time ago. So, 70s came along. Anybody remember that? Nobody remembers the 60s, right? That's an old joke. 70s, Charlie Bolton was here in Nevada. All right. And then Velvet Turtle. Tom, were you there?
Yes, I was there.
All right, Tom was in the Velvet Turtle. And how about, what was the other one? The Chateau. Yeah, was that Basque, French, whatever? Not to offend any Basque people. Shelley Basque, okay.
That's still there.
Is it? All right. So then she was hired. After she got out of there, I was in the scheduling unit. She was in the scheduling unit. Simply means this is all the stuff that happened on the mainframes had to be scheduled. We had to keep track of it. And we had to interface with people who, in those days, they called them programmers. Now they're engineers. Ooh. And but they write programs, so to me they're programmers. But engineer works too. But in those days, they were programmers. We had to run interference between the business side, who know nothing about IT, as evidenced here, what's a sysout, and the people who know what a sysout and looked down on the business people. All the technical folks, the ones who are really valuable, as far as they're concerned, is if there were no insurance people, the system would run fine. So you need nice people who care in between those people. Amato doesn't care. He just wants a system. Oh, hi, Amato. He cares. Amato's one of the ones who cares. He's way better. So Nancy and I worked together, and I'll tell you, there was two things about us working together. One was we were known for our customer service. The other one was the entertainment value. And people would come down and linger and stay, and we talked about that quite a bit. Eric, did you want to say something? No? Okay. Eric's getting the beginning of that disease, but that's okay. I have to be nice. I'm under strict orders. And now, back then, and judging from our dinners, it still holds true. She worries about everything. But in this business, sometimes you do. If you think about what Fireman's Fund does, and she did. She's one of those rare people that didn't say, well, it's just so I have to do this. She'd say, I have to do this correctly, or Atlas will be down this weekend. Or I have to do this correctly, some other system. Financial close won't happen. So she's the same way that she goes, God, and the reserves and the blah, 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 and the guy, and I didn't do it right. Did I put that number on that check or not? But that's the nature of a good worker and how you hang around for 35 years. She was so interested. We had, remember Y2K when the elevators were going to stop working, we're going to fall out of the air, and we're all going to die. She wore a formal, I wore a tux, and we were in this building, as many other people were. We had to watch the systems. New Year's Eve, 1999 into 2000. Anybody remember Bob Eichenberger? I used to call him Eichentina Burger. We had champagne in his office. That's how we spent it. And we know what is, if you're a long-time Fireman's Fund person, that means nothing to do that kind of stuff. It's just, this is part of your life, just like being home on New Year's Eve. Now, we got to travel a little bit, too. Nancy got to go back and forth to the Phoenix Data Center, I believe once or twice with Barbara. So that started traveling. We got to go to Boston with a bunch of the financial systems managers. She was a tag-along. And that cost, you'll relate to this because it's a money thing. Filene's Basement, Daffy's, that ruined us. Any money I saved on this being a business trip was wasted. There we go, it's gone. She's outlived Filene's Basement. Now we also got to go to the, New York has a IBM, what's it called, a hot site for disaster recovery testing. All systems have to be up, so you have to prove you can do it.
You're not supposed to say where it is.
Yeah, I didn't say where it was. Somewhere in New York, around New York, somewhere, East Coast. And Nancy tagged along, more shopping. But we also worked into a trip to the World Trade Center and visited with folks on the 47th floor. We thought we were just meeting somebody. We were ushered into a meeting in progress that was the most boring, business-oriented meeting you will ever see. We were on the 47th floor seeing snow fall and hitting each other under the table to stay awake. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to come back to that meeting. That during that time, we were also outsourcing. We were planning for that. So there was hundreds of jobs, a lot of long-time employees that were faced with being outsourced. A lot of trauma and drama, blah, blah, blah. We were of the sort that tried to uplift people. The day we were to come down and get our folders to find out if we were Fireman's Fund, CGI, or nothing, was on September 11th, a Tuesday, 2001. And if you were here for that day, you remember the screens in the cafeteria. She fell apart because we remembered the 47th floor in that meeting. And for a while, you just didn't know. But Fred probably remembers too, being involved with disaster recovery. All of a sudden, all those tests and all those things you practiced for, we were doing to make sure offices came back up. Nancy went back with me in December. We visited people in New Jersey who had to have the lines closed so that they didn't face and see Manhattan. Those you have memories after 35 years. So, we were no longer Fireman's Fund employees after a while. And I'll tell you, there's two kinds of people that leave this place. Bitter people and okay people. And I'm proud to say we're okay people. We never had anything bad to say about this place. Because we had a long run. Who can bitch? You know? You paid the bills, you had a job for a real long time. It's like, oh, how could they fire me after 25? How could they keep you that long? I mean, and she came back. And so, you know, there's not a whole lot of times that I was supposed to do this. Hold on a second. There's not a whole lot of Did you get that?
No, I didn't get it. Oh, the higher one. I remember that.
There's only so many times in life a guy gets to stand in front of a group of people and say they love their wives. So I'll say that. But I'll tell you, I probably love her for the same reason Paul did. It's kind of creepy, but I'll... She's fun to be with, and, you know, she's got her head down, and she's getting the work done. That's how she is at home, too. So thank you all for coming and celebrating with Nancy.
I'll be real quick because I know you all want to eat. But thank you all for coming today. I just wanted to say that I graduated from high school in 1975, and I had attended all Catholic schools from first grade through high school. So I was very naive. I walked in 1976 off the street and applied for a job at Fireman's Fund. My first interview was in San Rafael at a records building in an industrial park. Stan was there and I didn't even know it. But I was wearing a Saks Fifth Avenue suit, and the woman who was supposed to interview me took one look at me and said, "Look at you. This isn't a job for you," which is not something that could be said today. And I have to, actually, I'm grateful that she wanted nothing to do with me, because my second interview was with